Okay, so it is Friday. It's a long weekend here for us, so it'll be a busy one for people in the garden center. So we rushed out this morning and got all of our slats. So these are all the side slats, just to keep everything tucked in nice and clean. And this netting has some sharp edges, so it's just so that we can protect ourselves from all of that. And then we're building the gate today. This is Gerald's done all the outside, except for the bottom here. We have to wait till we put the door on though, so we're gonna wait and see how that all works. And it's lovely and sunny out here. So this is the little gate, the little door I'm making, and we've got some more obviously of that net stuff, and we'll put that on. I'll show you how it all looks when it's finished. Okay, that's my first attempt at a door, and I'm gonna put netting on it. Might need to make it a fraction of an inch smaller, because once the netting goes on, it might be too tight. Measurements are not my best thing. This is why Gerald builds everything, and I usually leave it to his know-how. I don't know if you can see that or not, but that's the netting, the same netting that went on the cage. I'm just stapling it to the door. Okay, almost done, but it's dinner time, so we're going in for a cold G&T and some dinner, but that's where it's gonna go. And it'll have hinges on it eventually. Hot and sweaty. Okay, so we're putting some Cracker Jack, that's what I call them, marigolds. They look little now, but these are the ones, look at those roots. These are the ones that get like 2, 3, 4 feet tall. They were last year. So they're gonna go in amongst the tomatoes because they'll stand up really high and hopefully help my tomatoes from the bugs. It is a gorgeously hot day today. It's Saturday morning. Okay, for now, consider this done. We're putting a little bit of an arch on the roof, but I cannot stop smiling. I'm so excited about how cool it is. Like, look at that. It's just fantastic. Buy a girl a pair of really fancy shoes. Buy a girl a really fancy dress. Buy a gardener girl something to keep her brassicas in, and she is just chuffed to bits, as you Brits say. Can't stop frickin' grinning from ear to ear. That is so cool. And the shade cloth keeps them cool. And it's got a door. And the door closes. We got to fix this roof part. It's not done yet, but it's 90% done. So little latch to lock my brassicas in. And we're good. And we're putting some cosmos in because I just can't wait for the tulips to all die. So we're trying to look at the roots on them. They're just dying to get in the ground. So we're going to try and put them in behind all of these without killing anything else. Excellent. That's my brassica cage with door with brassicas. This is why you have to be very careful when you move anything in a pot. There's little Mr. Frog in the pot. Sorry, buddy. Got some piping from Facebook Marketplace, really smoking deal. So that's gonna make the arch for the roof of my brassica cage. So these are the shallots. I forget what variety they are. But they are all getting scapes on them, so I'm pulling them off. I don't know if you can eat them or not. I couldn't be bothered. So I'm just pulling them all off and dropping them back in the soil. Everything just goes back on the soil. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks I will be able to just harvest all of these shallots and dry them, because they are taking up quite a large spot of the bed where the tomatoes are. Tomatoes are still doing good. There we go. Got a little bit of color on them from the chill, but they're not, it's not hurting them too much, and they're still growing, so getting new leaves and things on them. So that's the shallots all topped. Top all the scapes off them. There. This is behind the brassica cage, and since there's a path that used to go through the middle of the cage before the cage was there, there's plant pots, plant beds on each side. So what I might do is close the bed off, make one big bed all the way through, but what I'll have to do is put, there's a temporary one there, I'll have to put some sort of a walkway through here so I can get in here without stepping on the soil too much. But that's a plan in progress, as everything else is. These are my peonies, and as you can see, oops, I'm going to focus in a bit. There's ants all over the peonies. Apparently this is not a really bad thing, because the peonies give off, it's hard to focus on here because they're so, they give off some sort of a syrup that the ants really like, but it doesn't damage the peonies as far as I can tell. We got beautiful peonies last year. Rose of Sharon starting to come into leaf. Columbines are growing like crazy. I have two different varieties, a really tall one and then the short ones I showed you a couple of weeks ago. And I'm gonna have to tie some more strings on the beans again because they are more than 5 feet tall now. And yet I've got hardly any flowers on them. And that is my 7-foot rhubarb plant. We grow this one and we allow this one to go to flower every year because we just love the structure of it. It's just so cool looking. And it gets really, 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 really tall. It is Monday morning and we have pea liftoff. Lots of little pea flowers coming up. Finally. I was getting a bit worried that we weren't going to get any. But looking good. They're about 6 feet tall now. Might not like the taste of shard very much, but I sure can appreciate the colors of them. That's a mix, peppermint shard and red shard and a yellow shard. And like I said, nobody seems to be eating them, so we might just harvest them when they're really small and cook them up because they're in amongst the beans. The beans are holding up pretty good. More shard there. And you got it, more shard there. All in between all the veggies, all the bean poles. And yellows, courgettes are doing good. A little bit of light brown you can see at the front is I threw some radishes in there because Ray at Grow Your Own said it's a good idea to put radishes around your squash and courgette plants. It attracts some sort of squash bug. If you could just eat all the weeds, that would be great. Thank you.